6:17 here on your Thursday morning. Welcome back into Morning Jocks. Conrad and Damian here with you. We'll be with you until 10 o'clock. Morning Jocks until 7, and then John Saber will join us for McElroy and Kubelik in the morning from 7 to 10. Been a lot of fun this week, and appreciate y'all being along for the ride with us. And it's only going to get better because we finally made it to, let's be honest, it's the best part of the week. We're getting close to the weekend. We got the Sweet 16, so it doesn't get much better than that. Before we dive into that, though, let me tell you about our friends at Train, because flu season is still hanging around here, and we know pollen season is now in full effect. So make your home healthier with Train's Clean Effects Home Air Cleaner. It removes up to 99.9% of airborne particles that cause allergy and virus. It's 100 times more effective than standard air filters and 8 times more effective than HEPA room filters. Go find a dealer near you today at train.com. All right, so we've got 4 games coming up today in the Sweet 16, getting us started off at 6:10. That'll be the first tip-off of the night. And we get the SEC, Texas and Purdue. So Texas, again, they are the highest seeded team still in the bracket. So they are the 11 seed taking on the 2 seed in Purdue out there in San Jose, California. Purdue is a 7.5-point favorite in this matchup going into tonight. And I think it's, at this point, probably business as usual for Texas, because nobody thought you were going to beat Gonzaga. Well, not many people thought you were going to beat by BYU, but you could see where that would want to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Gonzaga, not so much, and now with Purdue, it's the same thing. I don't think many people are going to be picking the Longhorns tonight, and you're playing with house money at this point. No one thought you would be here. Everyone thought Purdue would be here. Just go have fun.
Yeah, you can play pretty loose. Yeah. The thing with Purdue, and we've got a chance to see them. They've played Alabama. They played a couple schools that we here locally. But I think that Purdue is a bad matchup for Texas. Where they had not gonna say a little bit of an advantage, but they could out-athlete and outpace a little bit of BYU and Gonzaga. I don't think they can really do that with Purdue, because
they're big.
They beat you up a good bit. So it's kind of a pick your poison situation for Texas. You're going to have to jump on them quick, because they do have the ability to work it inside out and have, they got Braden Smith and they got players that can really kind of take games over. It just doesn't feel like this is in Texas' favor. And again, we would love the Cinderellas, but this one just feels kind of it feels very unlikely that Texas is going to pull this one off.
Yeah, and again, this is just kind of what Purdue does, right?
Right.
We're used to seeing them, go and have success in the tournament. Maybe this is the year that they can go and take it all the way. But yeah, it's going to be very, very difficult for Texas to win this game unless they have just an absolutely outstanding performance by their guards, and they're gonna have to fill it up, and most likely Purdue's they're gonna have to have an off night. So it's gonna be a tall challenge for Texas, but at least according to Vegas, they have a better shot of beating Purdue than Alabama does Michigan. So you can,
the Alabama-Michigan line hadn't shrunk a little bit since we gotten closer to.
It was 10.5 when it opened. Now it's 9. It was 9.5 yesterday. It's still 9.5.
Okay.
So don't think that one's going to change much more. But anyways, we'll talk about that one more tomorrow, as that game will take place tomorrow night. Then at 6:30, following Texas and Purdue, there in Houston, Texas, you're going to have the 9 seed Iowa Hawkeyes taking on the 4 seed Nebraska Cornhuskers. So that is going to be a 1.5-point favorite there for Nebraska. And these two teams, unlike Texas and Purdue, we've seen this a couple of times in the regular season. So if you go back over the course of the Big Ten slate, and they went 1-1, so they've both gotten the better end of this matchup. For what it's worth, Nebraska did win the last time that they played at the end of the regular season, and that was the game that took place there in Lincoln, Nebraska. Iowa won when they played at their home court, and so read into that what you will. But both of these games, the first one was 57-52 Iowa. It's a very close basketball game.
Yep.
Then you look at the second one, it was 84-75 Nebraska, but that game had to go to overtime.
Okay, so they separated in overtime.
Yeah, so again, your guess is as good as mine. Obviously, they're very well matched, and you had one lower scoring matchup. There was more of a slugfest, and you had more of a higher scoring matchup. And so we'll see, which side of that it kind of leans to tonight. But, you just wonder too, and you've had the days off now, but, Nebraska over the course of the entire season, I know they split, but Nebraska showed that they were the better team. And, when you're a team like Iowa and you win the game you do against Florida and you have that dramatic shot there in the corner in the final seconds and just all the emotion and the excitement of the game, it's an awesome moment, right? But you always wonder, like, are you prepared to avoid the emotional letdown that comes after those kinds of moments, especially when it's that kind of an upset. And, to be honest, you probably didn't even expect yourself to be in that situation, right? And then you found yourself there and you took advantage of it, which is great. But maybe playing a familiar opponent helps you out a little bit more. So it feels more like, let's just go and handle our business. We've already proven we can beat them before, so why can't we do it again? But that's, I guess, where I look at with these kinds of games. I'm just like, it's, the letdown there maybe more so. And I guess you could say the same thing for Nebraska and the way that their game ended. But
yeah, has Iowa plateaued? Like, was that going to be their one shining moment because you ended up beating the defending national champions? Can you keep that momentum rolling? And Nebraska, you've never been here. You've never experienced any of this. So this is kind of hey.
You're both kind of playing with house money, so to speak, in that regard.
And like you said, it's a familiar opponent to the old Big Ten Classic between Iowa and Nebraska. But I think that, one, what Nebraska has done with Fred Hoiberg and some of his guys, like, to me, it's a Cinderella story, but they're a 4 seed, so it's kind of hard to say that this is kind of a unexpected situation to be in.
You should be here.
Right. And it's because they've never done it before in their history, so everything that they're doing is historic. So you kind of have to – you're playing – like you said, you're playing off emotion a little bit, but also you've played this team twice, so you kind of know exactly what to do, what are going to be some of the tricks of the trade to kind of get them over the hump. I'm expecting it to be a great ball game, but I seriously have no lean in this game. I'm kind of just – I didn't expect Iowa to be in this position. I thought it was going to be Florida. But also I had Vandy in this situation too, so it's kind of a toss-up, to be honest. And you've seen these two teams split at home, so I don't know. I think I'm expecting it to be a great game nonetheless, but I can't just go off the last time that they played each other because, again, it was a home win for Nebraska in that situation. So I don't know, man. I'm just excited to see it, to be honest.
Yeah, and I mean, I think we all, deep down, we want Nebraska to win for Molly, and so she can enjoy this run that, I mean, she's never seen something like this before, and I mean, the football team's not very good, so I mean, this is, again, very happy for her. Also very sad that this is literally the best she's ever seen one of her sports teams do in her entire life.
Exactly.
So, let's hope that it can keep going a little bit longer there for the Cornhuskers. All right, then you're going to have a little bit of a break in terms of the tip-off time. So 6:30 is Iowa, Nebraska. Then at 8:45, you're going to have Arkansas and Arizona. And no disrespect to the first two games of the night. Excited for them. Think they're going to be great. The last two games of the night, I mean, these could be two of the best games of the entire tournament. So you've got at 8:45 Arkansas and Arizona. There, Arizona's 7.5-point favorite. That one's being played in San Jose as well. And look, we know it's going to be how great is Darius Acuff, and the supporting cast is very important. We've talked about them a lot this week, but it feels like if Arkansas is going to pull off the upset over the 1-seed Arizona, that it's going to have to be the Darius Acuff show, and he's going to have to do what he has been doing, which is score over 30 points a game and just go out there and look like the best player on the floor for the vast majority of the 40 minutes tonight. Again, it's hard to just call for the upright upset because Arizona has been so good and they've been so solid all season long. You would, I guess, give them the lean as well in terms of like, you probably going to have some more Arizona fans because the trip's not quite as far as it would be for Arkansas fans. But I would think, especially with the matchup being what it is, that you would have a good portion of Razorback fans making the trip out there. I guess my question for Arkansas is the supporting cast. And I mean, when you're talking about guys like Malik Thomas, they're going to be like first round pick. Like, you got some really good players in that supporting cast. My question would always just be, if Darius Acuff, let's say he gives you like 16 points tonight, are you going to be able to overcome that? Or is it going to be he has to go and score 30, 35 points for us to have a chance? And maybe he does that, right? And he's showing that he can consistently. So I'm not saying here is sitting that I doubt that he'll have another great offensive performance tonight, but I think it's just one of those questions that you have to ask of, okay, if he's just pretty good tonight, is that enough for Arkansas? Can they pick him up around that? Or is Arizona just too good? And it's kind of hard for me not to think that Arizona's maybe just a little bit too good. But why would I expect anything other than 30 plus points for Darius Acuff right now?
Yeah, I'm with you. Listen, I have Arkansas in my Final Four, so a brother needs this one. But as we get closer to tip off, it's like, oh man, like did I take a shot in the dark? But I'm with you though, Darius Acuff. I have a strong feeling of what he is going to be able to do. And to your point, it's the supporting cast. It's everybody else. Where are you going to get those other points? Like you said, what if Darius Acuff goes cold? What if they're double teaming him? What if they're going boxing one and making it difficult for him to find his shot? Are these other guys going to be able to step up in this situation against, like, this isn't Auburn on the other side. This isn't Mississippi State. Like, this is arguably one of the best teams in college basketball on the other side. So for Arizona, it's, okay, do we continue our momentum and what we've been able to do? Yeah, we've had a couple bumps in the road. Can we still play at the level that we've been playing? And again, Arkansas has made it difficult, and I mean they've been battle tested coming out of besides Hawaii, but the last week against High Point, it was kind of a, hey, welcome to March, baby. This is where we are. So I think that as far as where Arizona is, it's hard not to deny. Like, it's hard to look at this team and not feel confident that they can go out there and get it done. But also, when you talk about what makes magical runs in March, it's guard play and it's defense. And Arkansas at times can play lockdown defense. At least Billy Richmond the third can. But offensively, it's the engine runs on what Darius Acuff does, and everybody else just kind of pitching in where they fit in. But it's an uphill battle. But they have the player and the takeover guy to get it done. But I'm rocking with Arkansas only because my bracket is. Or do I feel confident in it as we get closer to tip off? Absolutely not.
Well, I had Wisconsin winning this game, so that's where we are right now. And as you can tell, they are not one of the two featured teams tonight. So I don't really have a dog in this fight, fortunately, at this point. But yeah, if I had to pick right now, I'm going to take Arizona. I just think they've been really, really solid, and I think Arkansas is really good. It's just, Arizona's just for the majority of the season, them and Michigan were the two best teams in my opinion. And I know Duke came along late, and Florida at one point we maybe thought was in that conversation as well. But it's not a case of I don't believe in Arkansas. It's just I think Arizona is just maybe a little bit too good. So we'll see how that one plays out tonight. But we do have one more game on the slate tonight, and in my opinion, maybe going to be the best game of them all, maybe the best game of the tournament up to this point. So we'll dive into that one for you a little bit, talk about some of the coaching rumblings going on around college basketball as well. And we appreciate your input, 205-834-9450 on the JOX text line as we roll along on Morning JOX. 6:35. Welcome back in to Morning Jocks. Conrad Van Order, Damian Mitchell here with you for about 30 more minutes, and then we will hand you off to Conrad and Damian for McElroy and Kublik in the morning alongside John Saber. So looking forward to the next 3.5 hours as we hope you are as well. But we've been talking about the Sweet 16, giving you just kind of a quick overview, and we'll have more, fortunately, because we have 4 hours today. We'll have more time to kind of dive a little more in depth to some of these matchups that are coming up today and tomorrow. But we told you about the first three tonight. You got Texas Purdue is going to start us off at 6:10. Then at 6:30, you've got the Iowa Nebraska. What is it, Damian? It's not Farmageddon. It's
Cornmageddon.
Cornmageddon. That's
Cornmageddon.
it. That's what Molly said it's called there. So you can look forward to that. Then we've got Arkansas and Arizona at 8:45, and then at 9:05, as I kind of teased there. I think this is potentially going to be the best. Now, it might not be the highest scoring, but in terms of just back and forth, like game of inches type of thing, I think Illinois and Houston could be just an absolutely fantastic basketball game tonight. It is in Houston, so there is a slight advantage there. But I thought it was really cool. I saw a clip of the of Coach Underwood there for Illinois last night, and somebody had asked him, like, how do you feel about playing Houston in Houston? Like, does that bother you? And he, went on kind of this little rant about, man, I coach JUCO basketball, and if you had ever told me at some point in that time, like, he's talking about taking bus rides across the country to go play basketball games, and it was, if you told me that I could play Houston in the Sweet 16, I would have crawled to the basketball game.
Yes, sir.
He's like, he doesn't care if it's in Houston. He doesn't care if it's in Alaska. He doesn't care if it's in Moscow. Like, he's going to play the basketball game. And so I think this is going to be a lot of fun tonight between Houston and Illinois. Houston is a 2.5-point favorite. If you listen to our interview on Mac and Cube with Richard Hendricks earlier in the week, he told us that he thought Houston is, out of every team left in the tournament, Houston is the best. Or playing the best right now, at least. And, I mean, we saw what they did to Bucky, unfortunately. But, I mean, this is what they're built for, right? Like, this is what they're disciplined. They play tough defense. They're well coached. And as you brought up a couple of times this week, Damian, offensively speaking, maybe they're a little bit ahead of where they've been in past seasons where we looked at them as, a title favorite, and they've kind of put it all together this year, and they're playing really, really well at the right time.
Yeah, defensively, I have no questions about Houston. This is what they're built for. They will make it a rock fight. They will make it extremely difficult for Illinois to find great shots. When they have them, they better make them. But this, like you said, this is kind of the first time offensively they have a guy that can take it over. Kingston Fleming's a young guy, freshman, who really he's had moments even during the regular season where he's, he'll drop 30, he'll give you 34. It's kind of one of those things where if Houston's going to get it done, they finally have the right DNA to get it done this season. And yeah, the challenge is going to be tough because Illinois is they're no fluke either. Like, they've gone out here and played some great ball, even through the tournament and where they are right now. So I think that, like you said, the last two games I think are probably going to be the best two matchups that we have seen. But it's hard to deny Houston and Kelvin Sampson because of just how they play, the style in which they play, where they can get teams out of their comfort zone quickly, and some teams just don't know how they're going to react to it. But I'm so excited to see, and yeah, I'm pretty sure it's going to be loud for one side of the floor. Like, for one side of the court, it's going to be interesting to see. It's going to feel like another home game, but it's hard to go against Houston and what Kelvin Sampson does because of just how well they play defensively. And now offensively, they can kind of match up with some people and say, hey, we got a go-to scorer too, so we don't have to just kind of figure it all out. But I know when whoever Kelvin Sampson throws out there on the floor, the effort will be on 100. Like, it will be at a top tier level defensively. Offensively, you're still trying to figure some things out. But Houston has so many athletes in certain places. They play with a lot of length that, what they may sacrifice in the paint against Illinois, they make up for with athleticism of just being able to put a bunch of bodies and move a bunch of guys around defensively. So I'm interested to see. I'm with Richard Hendricks too, as far as Houston, to me, has probably the best makeup and they've been playing the best ball. Of course, of course, Michigan, Arizona, all the number 1 seeds, and Duke and things. So, but I do think for a team that if I had to lay money on a team that you told me that was going to be in a national championship game, it would be hard not to have Houston in the discussion early on.
And I think for Houston as well, not that you're, looking ahead of this matchup here, but I mean, with Florida getting knocked out by Iowa, their path to returning to the national championship game is, simply put, they have the easiest path of any team in the field right now, I would say, to get back there. So, you get past Illinois, you're going to play the winner of Iowa, Nebraska. Not saying neither of those teams have a chance, but I just, again, from what I've seen of those teams, Houston's just on a little bit of different level. So I think they, this right here has the feel of like the Elite Eight matchup for Houston. And if you get past this one, I think you feel, again, not taking anything for granted, but you probably feel really good about your chances against either Iowa or Nebraska. And then, of course, on the other side, the winner of Arizona, Arkansas plays the winner of Texas and Purdue. So who knows? Maybe we get Arkansas and Texas, and the Elite Eight, is unlikely as that may be, but it could happen.
It
right?
could.
It could.
It could.
Man, we could have 0 SEC teams left. If chalk holds, there will be 0 SEC teams left.
That's a good point.
After tomorrow night.
After you say it out loud, it's dang. It could actually happen.
Yeah. It was started off so good, man. Started off so strong, and now we find ourselves here. But somebody will pull through, right?
Yeah, Alabama tomorrow.
Alabama, that's right.
Arkansas tonight.
That's right. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'm just holding on to dear life.
No, I'm right there with you, brother. I hope that it works out a little bit better than we might. It might look on paper, but that's why they play the games.
Exactly.
That's why they play the games. Nobody thought Texas would be here, and here they are. So who's to say that they can't win? They can't win one more for us tonight here in the SEC. But staying with college basketball, but kind of moving away from the games tonight and getting to a little bit of the coaching stuff. We spent a lot of time yesterday talking about Hubert Davis and who's going to replace him at North Carolina, and don't want to get into that right now. But what I do want to get into is the Bill Self situation at Kansas from yesterday. Because if you missed it, I had a few people reaching out I had some people texting me, I had some people tweeting at me like, oh, I guess Nate Oates is going to have options now. And, oh, if you don't think Nate Oates is going to North Carolina, do you think he's going to Kansas? And it's like, let's pump the brakes a little bit here, because Twitter, I get it's easy to see something get reported and assume, but let's also remember there's a lot of people that attempt to make a living off of being first, not being correct. And that was the case yesterday, as you had some people that consider themselves college basketball journalists that were reporting that Bill Self was retiring at Kansas. Bill Self very quickly said, no, I'm not. Now, it doesn't mean that he won't ultimately decide to retire, but he has not made up his mind, and he has not announced one way or the other whether he's going to stay or whether he is going to go. So as of right now, he is the head coach of Kansas basketball.
Correct.
And a lot of this is, he's made it clear like he's had some health issues over the last few years, and that would be, it seems like kind of the driving force if he were to step away from the program. But I just, again, it's just another great example of don't believe everything that you hear. And it reminds me a lot of, it might have been both of them. Who had the beef with Adam Schefter about, was it Aaron Rodgers or Tom Brady? When, I think it was Tom Brady.
It was Tom Brady, because he announced that he was retiring, and Tom had, he didn't say anything. He was like, where did this come from? Aaron Rodgers had he had an issue with Diana Rossini.
Oh, that was Diana Rossini. Okay,
Rossini.
That's it. Well, him and Adam Schefter had a different problem about something. I can't remember what it was. But anyways, but it just reminded me of that, whereas you have these guys that are, some people that are, I would say well-respected, certainly, talking about the NFL folks, but even in the college, like some of the people I saw talking about this in college, I'm like, you're not one of those people that I look at and go, oh, I know what you're doing. Like you're engagement farming. You're just trying to put something out there to get clicks. And like, it's people that you're like, okay, you clearly, felt good about your sources, or you felt confident in pushing post on something that maybe you should have held back on a little bit. You got to be careful about who you trust and what you read. And And so as far as that's concerned, because I'm sure there are a lot of people out there yesterday that were freaking out about, there's no way that Nate Oates is going to turn both of them down. Well, let's pump the brakes a little bit on the Kansas thing. We'll see if that ultimately comes to fruition. Now, is it fair to say that it might come open this offseason? Yeah, it might.
Yeah, it might.
It might. But it also might not. And it's just like, the same thing with North Carolina. Like, would Nate Oates take that phone call? I think you take the phone call. That doesn't mean he's going to say yes to the job. Doesn't mean that Billy Donovan's going to say yes. Doesn't mean that Otzelberg, we just got to wait and see. But again, I wouldn't say that anything, is doom and gloom or anything like that for Alabama, for Nate Oates. If you're, one of the people that is, advocating for Alabama to retain him and maybe give him an extension like I am, I would say to, you can hold your breath a little bit longer there. And I just wanted to mention that because I know there's a lot of people that see things on social media and run with it, and just wanted to clarify that Bill Self has made it clear that he has not made an official decision. So he is, as of right now, the head basketball coach there for the Jayhawks. So that's a little bit of the coaching rumors and rumblings of what's been going on there outside of just the games in the NCAA tournament. But you have been chiming in all morning, 205-834-9450. We see your text, and that is where we will go next here on Morning Jocks. Well, could it be a reunion down on the bayou as LSU looks to bring home the prodigal son, Damian?
Brian Kelly.
Not quite.
Oh, boy.
But as we told you about the Bill Self rumblings yesterday before we went to break, but the other big coaching news or rumors from yesterday involved the LSU Tigers and a potential return for one Will Wade. As we told you yesterday, we were talking about a little bit on Mac and Q, but there was a story that came out and basically saying that Matt McMahon his future was up in the air, so to speak, at LSU, and they were trying to figure out what to do. And, you know, we've always known that at some point Will Wade was going to come back to LSU. Like, it just felt like that was it was the way that things were meant to be, essentially. It would be really hard to see something like that not necessarily happening. And then you got reports yesterday coming out of Baton Rouge that essentially Will Wade has been having conversations with LSU and North Carolina State about, you know, what it would look like if he were to leave the Wolfpack and go and take the job back there in Baton Rouge. And so according to Matt Moscona, who does a great radio program there in Baton Rouge and covers the LSU athletics programs, he said on Twitter yesterday, Will Wade met with North Carolina State officials on Wednesday to discuss reports around a possible return to LSU, according to his sources. NC State is expected to make a competitive offer within the next 24 hours to keep him there in Raleigh. And in addition to that, LSU is also looking to hire McNeese AD Heath Schroyer and bringing him to Baton Rouge. And what does that mean? That is the guy that hired Will Wade at McNeese. So it's kind of a family affair, appears there down on the bayou. So we'll see how it all works out. His buyout's $3 million after April 1st. Matt McMahon's is $11 million at LSU. So for the governor that came out and said that they were going to stop spending money before they hired Lane Kiffin, it seems like they're just going to keep on spending that money and doing that on the basketball side of things as well. But look, he's a good coach. He had a great track record, and LSU basketball is really bad right now. So I think you could do worse, and it'll be entertaining.
Oh, for sure.
To say the least.
Because now everything that he was, you know, everything he dealt with when he was at LSU is now called NIL and recruiting. So he's like, hey, you know, enough time has passed. Come on back. Let's get this thing back right. And I feel like LSU may, when they decide to step away from McMahon, they'll do a search. But excuse me, but they know exactly where they're going.
Yeah, it's like he's entering the transfer portal with the do not contact.
Exactly.
It's the coaching. It's a coaching version of that. So that's kind of the other big coaching rumblings that are going on out there in the college ranks. But let's get to your text here, 205-834-9450, before we hand off to ourselves on McElroy and Kublik in the morning. This text coming in, and it says, it's comical to me that people think North Carolina would even want Nate Oates. Who would want that kind of baggage in their program when there are clearly candidates that are just as good, if not better, and way less cringe, especially at a place as prestigious as North Carolina? I agree with that text 100%. I don't think North Carolina should even talk to him. I don't think Kansas should. I don't think anybody should. I agree. Let's keep him in Tuscaloosa. That's right. That's where he needs to be.
Who is their head football coach? Bill Belichick?
Correct.
Didn't he have a couple issues when he was a New England Patriot head coach? Seems like it's right on brand. Seems like it's right on brand from North Carolina.
Well, yes, but admittedly, I get
what you're saying. Yeah,
it's
like apples to oranges as far as.
Yeah, you're filming practice versus like criminal stuff. So I will admit, like, yeah, I understand. There's certainly a difference there, and those are different cases. But yeah, I agree with that text. I don't think North Carolina should go after him. I don't think anybody should, because he's such a horrible, awful coach. And why would anybody want him? I guess we'll just have to keep him at Alabama. I don't know. I mean, that would be awful, wouldn't it? Just keep on winning.
Feels like you got to settle for him at Alabama.
Feels like we'll have to keep on winning at a high level. I would hate that, wouldn't I? Eric from Sneed says Alabama's going to beat Michigan by 8 and move on to the Elite Eight.
Whoa!
We'll see about that.
That's what I'm talking about, Eric.
All right, Mac and Cube is up next.